We are live.
To the 22nd.
I'd like to call the meeting of the Berlin Township zoning to order. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please silence all cell phones. I did that. Lisa, would you take the roll, please?
Sure. Jerry Valentine,
Here.
Darcy Kaplan, here. Jenny Slopes, here. Keith Gosha, Angela Brown, here. Jasper DeChristopher, here. Tara Shields, here.
Okay, I don't know that we're really going to cover anything that requires it, but I'm going to read it just for the sake, in case there are any questions. The adopted policy. The adopted policy of the Berlin Township Zoning Commission is that each applicant or agenda item will be given 10 minutes or at the discretion of the chairperson to make a formal presentation. The chair will allow questions from the commission members in order to provide a timely and orderly discussion of business for consideration. Finally, the audience will then be given up to 3 minutes or at the discretion of the chairperson for each speaker to respond. The chairperson may limit repetitive debate, and all comments from the audience must be addressed to the chairperson. Lisa, would you verify that the meeting was advertised?
Yes, as a regular meeting in December of 2022 in the Delaware Gazette.
Okay, we have minutes from the August 22nd meeting. Does anybody make a motion to approve them?
Sure, I'll approve or make a motion to approve the minutes from the August 22nd meeting.
Thank you. Any seconds?
I'll second the motion.
Ms. Kaplan,
Yes.
Ms. Slopes,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Abstain.
Mr. DeChristopher,
Same.
Mr. Valentine.
Yes. Okay, we have a light agenda tonight. And the biggest thing is the Berlin Township zoning resolution. I'm going to give I hate to say a speech, but I'll tell you up front. The comprehensive land use plan has right now it's on the schedule to be approved by the trustees at their next meeting, which I think is the 25th of September. And the trustees would like to see us get the zoning resolution to match the comp plan. Any of the changes that were in there, any ambiguities, told you I could say it, that exist, we're supposed to try and find. Now, I have a list of things that I know. Jake has put together a few items, which we can talk about in a little bit, of gotchas, things that, let me give you one example quick. One place, the density seems to be questioned because of the latest development that we approved. It's changed names, Long Hill, and it's now the Berlin Farms East or West, because they used a 20,000 square foot per net developable acreage. And that's really not what the book says, but it's in there as 20,000 square foot minimum lot size. But that was an example. It wasn't reality. And it was actually 1.85 is the density, which is lower than 20,000 square feet. So somehow we as a group need to correct that and just make it so it's clear, and you can't have, they can't pick and choose what the density needs to be on the net developable, because it's hard to enforce that. And the second thing that I found is, I don't know what R4 means anymore in our code. because we have an R4 in the business park that is 4 density, and we have an R4 in the resolution book that is 1.50 is what it says in there as the density on that called medium density. So those two examples, I just kind of read through it. We need to try and clean that up if at all possible. Well, it is possible, and the timing of it, of how much do we tackle at once? I don't want to redo the whole book in one time because you can't. It's just too massive. And the last update was January of August of 19 was the last update. So it's 4 years since we changed things on the book. The biggest thing that right now the trustees are supposedly, they have a list in our new chapters, 15 and 19, that Jake, we ran into a few things already, and we want to cover those as soon as possible. But I'd like for us as a commission to take the current book and read through it and list page and item of anything that you think or you feel is not clear. I think I labeled it in this. These are my labels, not anybody else's. I call this the good old boy book because when this was written, we had a bunch of farmers who wanted to develop their land, and we did it for their sake. And today we have a lot of developers that have lawyers, and they look for the holes to try and maximize their return. We have to somehow make it so that we're clear and fair, but we don't always get into situations that in the last few months we've gotten into with lawyers. Is that fair? Any questions about that?
How do we tackle it?
Yeah, good question. I'm hopeful that once comp plan is approved, that we have a starting point, but then the day after it's approved is when we have our next meeting. I would like to take between now and 2 weeks from now for all the zoning commission members to read through it and list their individual concerns. I'll take it and combine all that and work with Scott Sanders, because he's the one that keeps the master copy, to provide those updates. And that's just across the whole thing. Hopefully density is the first part that we deal with, but we'll get as much done as we can. And I'm supposed to work with Megan to get a schedule on when we need to have certain things done. That was as of last night, is what I heard. I'm also this week getting a hold of Tony Stucco, our the prosecutor's office, since he's legal, that he can help us, and ask him, what are the holes, Tony? And Scott Sanders, because of the number of these, I think he has 14 of them that he maintains. So any ideas that he has. And we as a township have a certain amount of money each year that we pay them, and then they fill that back. And I talked to Scott 2 weeks ago, and he said we still had some. How much that is, I don't know. But those are the steps that.
You say not the whole book at the same time.
Right.
Do you want us to start with the bio, or do you want us to start with like R3 or?
I think I'd like to start with all of, if we can, all of the PRD and Rs, R2, 3, and 4.
Do you want to start really with tab 5
Yes, ma'am.
and go through tab
9 and 10.
through tab 10?
Yes.
No, sorry. Really, do you want? I mean,
11.
Okay, through tab 11.
Yes, please. Yeah.
So you don't care about tab 12 is NCD.
Yeah, I care
Don't worry
about
about
that.
that.
I
Yeah,
don't think.
not yet. Okay.
Right. I think if we could cover the residential and the current zoning first, that's a large chunk of where we've had some discrepancies and some issues.
What if we, kind of divvied out, if, like, say, taking 2 of us and doing a couple sections of the other? You know, I don't know how we would do that, but just to put an eye on it, if anything like major sticks out.
I like that idea, but it's tough when we're not in the meetings to get in groups of 2 together. That's why I just thought.
No, I'm just thinking like one like, say I take 18 and Angela takes 18. You know, so that we both go at it on our own separate terms, but we're at least 2 eyes.
Focused on that.
Focused on that, 2 set of eyes are focused on that, or, you know, 2 sections. And that way, if something major sticks out, but we're not going through the whole book, you know, each individually.
The only thing that I didn't like about that idea is the consistency. If you have R2 covered by one group and R3 another, and they're.
If we do, I'm saying the ones that you stated, we all do.
Okay.
But then the ones that we're omitting for now, just have a couple of us.
Certainly.
You know, that way, if anything major sticks out right away.
But we're still covering that.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
So there's no omittance to the whole book itself, but we're not all having to go through the entire book.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, and I like that as assigning. I think what I'd like to do is put a project plan type of thing together, but I wanted the team to put it together. I don't want to come up and dictate that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I like that idea for everybody else. Agrees. Okay, and yeah, between now and the next meeting, we should get Megan has promised me to have her hot items, which I think, Jake, you can, at one point, she said she had talked to you about some of them, right?
Yeah, we have a list of a few. I won't go all the way into detail on all of them, but I know a lot of them pertain to some of the BCO and BIO sections, which if we're not gonna be touching on those, like right this second, then, I mean, it just.
I don't have that list yet
Okay.
to distribute.
Which I know, I mean, in the meantime, we'll kind of sit down and start talking about that kind of stuff, and I guess divvy out some of the ones that aren't gonna be right now that we're focusing on, just so that we don't get too many confusion ideas in, especially thinking about the other codes in itself. And I know a few of them I have written down as well for some of the sections in the code to make sure that those get divvied up, so.
So what I would promise is that by next meeting, the 26th, we'll have a spreadsheet of some sort.
Yeah,
And we'll
yeah.
share with everybody all those
Right.
already identified items.
Yeah.
As well as maybe a schedule of when everything should be done. Because ultimately, they want the whole book
Right.
done, but there's a lot in there that it's gonna take. Megan made a statement, she'd like to have it done by the end of the year. And I said, I don't think that's gonna happen. Because it takes over a month just the process to get it between us and to get to, it has to go to the regional planning, because they maintain and they approve whether we can make those changes or not, and then it comes back, goes to the trustees. So the timing of the meetings, regional planning meets like once a month. So to get through, say, 5 or 6 sections, then that process, we can start on more, but there's gotta be a timing involved and all that. So I think 3 months is kind of aggressive. I'll shoot for it, but I don't know that we can update this book by the end of the year. The whole book, I would like to have a couple of revisions before the end of the year, but not the whole book.
So to me, outside of chapters 5 through 11 now, are there other ones that you want us to focus on and divvy up?
The second group is what
15.
Jake just said of the 2 new ones, because they seem to be the ones that are
15 and 19.
15 and 19.
Okay.
Those are the ones that are the largest and have a lot of content. but appear to have a lot of,
But we can't start on those yet because,
well, you can start on them, but I believe we already have a list that I'll have by next meeting. And if I get it earlier, I can email it to everyone of what both Megan and Jake have found have been contention points.
And if they're touched on by whoever's reviewing those other ones as well, we can just add those ideas together. I mean, that's one of the biggest things is making sure that we have all the ideas from every board member, every trustee, whoever it is that's looking over it, just so we have a long list of things to get changed. And if we send that over to RPC to get the confirmation or not, then we'll use every idea we possibly can to get those changed.
are there any other chapters then that you would like us to break apart right now?
No, I don't have any order yet. That's what I've been looking at, but trying to figure out what are the sore spots in that. That's gotta be mainly from the zoning inspector, Jake, to say, here's where he was having problems, and he had a list somewhere. I would rather deal with that before we deal with just the general
Okay.
look. And I already mentioned the legal involvement. There was, Megan also mentioned that we could, if we felt necessary, enlist an outside attorney who specializes in this to go through the code that we have and say where there could be some contention, or they can contend anything, but something that we need to look out for. So I have to get further direction from the trustees in this case. And, yeah. Does that make sense? No?
Yes.
Oh, I thought, yeah, okay. Anybody else have ideas? Because what we said was that we're gonna cover all the different zoning codes and review 15 and 19 for the next meeting and provide back input that I'll combine everybody's and work on. I guess this is where, is there any comment?
Jerry, real quick, can I schedule to meet with, I leave on Saturday, the 23rd, to
Okay,
go out of town for that week, so I won't be here on the 26th. Can I schedule to meet, get with you before I leave?
certainly. Do you have any comments?
Well, I'm kind of taken back because I haven't lived here all that long, but I remember hearing the same discussion very early on after I moved here, and I can't believe you haven't gotten through the book yet. I'm sorry, it's just something that kind of, I thought was completed.
I'm
What
wondering
we
if you're,
completed was a comprehensive land use plan book, which was like a 2.5 to 3 year process to update. Do we do that it's every 10 years is what they'd like for you to do.
Okay,
And that has went through and went back to the regional planning, and now it's at the trustee level. We approved it, and now the trustees are supposedly will implement that new vision of the comprehensive land use plan. And these are the rules to make sure that that vision is accomplished. And so we should try to keep a little more current, because the first few pages are who we are, and most of the people sitting here aren't on that list. So we've kind of, I hate to say neglected it, but we needed to do the updates, but that was to be enveloped in with the comp plan and any changes there. And this was initiated just actually this month, that the resolution book, or that particular document was to be updated, and the trustees would like to see it done by the end of the year, was what has been asked.
right, I understand that. It just seems as though I'd heard this conversation before about updating a book, and I thought, that can't be the same one.
I don't think it is the same one.
I hope not.
How long ago did you I guess that,
Probably
That's this book.
5 years ago.
okay, yeah. 5 years ago, we did start doing the comprehensive land use plan. And I don't want to blame it on COVID, but COVID hit. And we had done surveys, and that's in the new book, as well as some, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Because everybody wanted low density and keep the taxes down, wide open spaces, and pretty similar stuff, but then there were some specifics that were added into the new document, recommendations that were made based on the input from the residents.
And this was updated in 2019, so the zoning resolution was amended in August of 2019. That's the last time it was updated. So you may have heard of this book being updated when you were, if you were.
I came here in 17, so it's possible that's what I heard.
One of the two.
And they would amend just sections at a time, and that's the other thing that I hope to develop is how do we keep it current? You know, what's the process that we go through? Because right now, there is a section in there that talks about the updates, and it goes back to regional planning for their approval, then it comes to the trustees, back and forth in the scheduling meetings. All of a sudden, we elongated it to like a 60-day process to move ahead at all, and trying to make that faster.
Ma'am, can I get your name and address, please?
Yes, March. True. 6481 Sherman.
Okay, that's really what I wanted to talk about with the resolution book. The next item I wanted to talk about, Kathy asked me to explain this book, the AAT properties, which will be on the agenda on the 26th for final development approval. And the reason that she told me that was in the back are all of the minutes that started in 2018. This particular item has been there, and the main reason for the delays, and we've gotten it approved through the trustees, is the sewer on Route 23. This is property right across the street from the Speedway that was changed from residential to PCD. And they have plans in here to put in like, I think 10 or 12 retail businesses is what this plan is. And they're doing away with housing right there. At the Heights Road has been remodeled and some of that, but all those notes are in the back of this book with yeah, she couldn't add it to the book because of the way it was, the binder was set. So she asked me to at least explain why there was all that extra stuff back there. And the trustees did make some concessions, and that's all in there. The zoning commission, there's two of us who were
Two left.
involved in it at the time it started. Just, it'll be discussed next in 2 weeks. Hope I explained that, okay. Okay, Jake, do you have anything?
Nothing further.
Okay. The next meeting is the 26th, and as I mentioned, it's this AAT properties to be discussed, along with, hopefully we'll have time to go through the resolution book changes that we recommend and put that together. With that, I'm announcing tonight will be my last night. I'm resigning from the board, effective tonight, because I'm gonna go to work with Jake. specifically with the resolution as an assistant zoning inspector and working outside of these meetings because I can't do both. And I didn't think it was fair. I had mixed emotions. I didn't think it was fair of me going out of town for 2 months in February and March and putting the rest on you guys. And so this way I don't have to worry about this meeting and the zoning itself. Like I said, I enjoy the heck out of what I do, but I can only do one of them, and this is something I think needs to get done, so I kind of volunteered to do that instead. So the next meeting is Darcy's gonna take over, and anything that you guys wanna do in that point is the commission's place. I enjoyed working with all of you.
It's been what?
Yeah,
10,
it was
11,
not
12 years?
expected.
It's 17 years, but I mean,
Oh my gosh.
on the commission, so.
That's a big loss.
They had to get rid of me somewhere.
Nobody cared that you were gone.
That's right, we did it.
Well, I felt guilty to the most, okay, the most controversial things that we've had going on in this township were February, March of last year. And we're still licking our wounds from that TNR, and I didn't want that to happen again next year or whatever, because I've already committed. If I didn't, then I probably wouldn't meet my 50th year for, the only thing I've committed to longer than this is my life, so, and that'll be 50 next year. So anyway, we'll be in Florida February and March, and Megan said she wanted this done. We can't do it as a commission with everything else going on. So they had announced assistant zoning inspector to work with Jake and get this done. And thought it was.
Nobody knows it better than you?
Do what?
So nobody knows it better than you?
Oh, well, thank you. I'm still learning it though, but this is, so. So please, if you were here, sign the minutes. And I'm still gonna, I told her I'm gonna attend the meetings. So, and mainly because of that, because we're covering each. I'll get my 5 minutes of fame, hopefully, that we can talk about the changes that are made. But Jake or I or both will be at those meetings still. But a lot of other stuff outside of it that we're doing.
So we'll need to, Jasper, you'll come up into a full-time role then. And then Tara will move to one, and then we need
There'll
an
be-
alternate.
Yes, yes. And Megan, this all happened about midnight last night, and I didn't get to read it or see it, but there was, she watched the video from last night, so she came in. So, I fell asleep at 10:30 with the meeting.
I don't sleep. So, I'm sitting there on my couch, like, honey, they're still in session.
Yeah. And they went, right before they were talking about that position, they went into executive session, which mutes all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm good.
But then they came back and announced it.
Yeah. I didn't see that part yet, but it's okay. They told me about it. I got the cliff notes and everything. Okay, well, with that, is there anything else, anybody? We hope the next time you come in, that book will be current. That's my job now.
Okay, I certainly anticipate it being completed in that timeframe that you said. So.
We're gonna do our best to do it, you know. Yes. Okay, well. Last step. Hey, the first time I did that, everybody woke up. So.
Did you ever get your survey? Were you the one with the survey, the neighbor?
Yes.
Did you get that figured out?
No.
hold on.
You said they moved your property line, right?